let's get into the botany of kratom, because there's not a lot you can find with Googling. There's a lot of stuff on kratom that's still in books that haven't been digitized. You mentioned Korthel's diaries. In our former interview, you said, one of the chapters in your book is about the discovery of kratom by the first European explorers, and you use some of the diaries of Peter Korthel's, the guy who discovered kratom. He was a Dutch botanist. What can you tell us about Peter Korthel's? What was his earliest discovery of kratom, and what were his impressions?
First of all, Korthel's diary. I think the diary itself is not that interesting for those interested purely in kratom, I'm afraid. But it gave me a lot of background knowledge that helped me with further research. Kortels was a very, very good botanist. He laid the groundwork for very, very much research on botany. His methods were very, very good for that time. If anybody's interested, there's a good paper on it by Martin Manse. You can find it on the internet. It's called "Knowledge is Power: The Versatile Expeditions of Peter Willem Kortels." That's just a preface for what I'm about to say. To understand who Kortels was is to understand the time. The history of kratom is more or less a colonial history. Mm-hmm. Because until 1949, the Netherlands had control over a large part of the Malay archipelago called Dutch India, mm-hmm. which very roughly covered the area of present-day Indonesia. Whereas the British ruled the present-day territories of Myanmar, formerly Burma, and Malaysia, then called British Malaya, among others. The island of Borneo was dominated by the Netherlands in the south, while the north was claimed by the British. It is therefore hardly surprising that first Dutch and British researchers discovered kratom. These colonial powers were not only interested in mineral resources, but also in exploring and mapping the local fauna and flora in order to develop possible new products. Mm-hmm. One of these organizations established was the Commission for Natural Sciences in Dutch India, which Kortels was a part of. And in 1836, the traditional use of kratom by the indigenous Malay population was reported for the first time. At that time, and this is important, kratom was known by the name biak, or bayak, I guess in English.
Yeah.
The Latin species term was not yet assigned at that time. That's important to keep in mind. It was not until 1839 that Kortels established the genus Mitragena and the species Speciosa. He did, at that time, not provide a botanical description for this species, which is usually formally considered a necessary criterion to establish a new plant species. Mm-hmm. So who was this man? He was born in 1807 in Amsterdam and died in Haarlem in 1892. He was a botanist and a field researcher, and he worked extensively in the herbarium in Leiden. It was a very, very important herbarium at the time. As a member of the commission, as I said, he made several research trips to the archipelago between 1831 and 1837. In the course of these voyages, he made beside Mitragena speciosa, other important botanical discoveries, and brought a considerable collection of seeds, fruits, and plants back to the Netherlands, so not just kratom alone. The invention, as I call it, of kratom was quite a bit confusing. In 1849, he transferred the Mitragena speciosa to one other genus called Stephagenin, and then renamed it to several other names, and other authors renamed it. At last, the English naturalist George Darby Haviland renamed it back to Mitragena speciosa, which we call it today. This was in 1897.